Good morning, YouTube viewers and subscribers. So yet again, my good friend John has sent me a few engines to evaluate and add to my Glow Engine video database. I've had them for a week or two now. I just haven't gotten around to them. Kind of burn out on that kind of stuff. And I've got yet one more coming from John that should be here on Monday, and I think a lot of people will be pretty interested in seeing. What I have here today is a very old Super Tigre engine. I'm just going to go ahead right now and zoom in here and try and keep this in frame. This engine dates back to 1969, and it is a G20/23 RC engine made in Italy, obviously, because it's a Super Tigre. Now, I didn't, 5-6 years ago, I didn't even know Super Tigre had made engines for this long. But apparently there's, in the heyday of Glow Engine manufacturing, many of these cool manufacturers that are no longer around just went back many, many years. So this one comes with some operating instructions, which is really cool. And then this certificate of ownership or something. It says it's all in Italian. Pretty neat little engine. So here is the engine. Here's the high-speed needle. I don't think there's anything else in here, so let's just focus on looking at this nice little engine. So as I said, this dates back, well, put it this way, the review I found on this engine was dated 1969. Maybe the engine goes back a year before that, I don't know. But this is the Super Tigre G20. And as you can see, it's one of these older ones. Like, I've seen some OS that have this kind of bolt-on baffle type exhaust system as opposed to having the little baffle integrated in there, and that's because you can actually put an exhaust and muffler on here. Now this engine would oh wow, that's interesting, would appear to be an air bleed carb, and I just noticed that it looks like the air bleed screw is missing, because that does look like a threaded hole there. So that's interesting. I didn't realize that the first time I opened this up and looked at it, that screw is missing. I don't know how that is going to impact the operation and running of this engine, but I'm sure it will have an impact on it. I'm not sure if John was aware of that either. So John, just so you know, it looks like this little screw is missing. And that kind of brings me back to operation and running of this engine. Now, like I said, this engine dates back at least to 1969, and for the life of me, I've done my smell test on it, and I don't smell the evidence that this has ever been run, but my nose is probably only calibrated to go back for engines maybe 25 to 30 years, and after that my nose just doesn't work. So either this has never been run, or it was run so long ago that all hints of it on my calibrated nose are gone. So because of the construction of this engine, this is a cast iron or an iron piston construction. This is not one of those, so it's not ABC, and I think it may be ringed also. I'll have to look at the review a little more closely. I just read the fact that it's a cast iron piston. Now these cast iron piston engines like this require a very, very different break-in than more modern ABC type engines. And it's more of a heat cycle type thing where, and I always go to, what is it, let me check here real quick, Adrian's Model Aero Engines site, and I can put a link on his site on this video to determine how to do proper break-in of engines, because he's very knowledgeable, and he talks extensively about breaking in diesel and glow engines with the ferrous piston or the cast iron piston. And basically what his instructions on this say, it's a heat cycle process, and you want to run it at a 4-stroke mixture setting for X number of minutes, and then let it cool completely before you run it again. And you go through this cycle about 8 times for a total of 40 minutes to an hour. So quite honestly, if this has never been run, I'm not really up for doing a full break-in on this thing. And that also means that I'm not going to just put it on the stand and wind it out either. So I'm kind of on the fence here as to whether I'm actually going to run this engine or not now, especially knowing the fact that this air bleed screw is missing. That's really going to change the way the thing idles. So this could end up just being one of these quick looks on this engine, and I'm uncertain as to whether I'm actually going to run this engine. But the old Super Tigre Saturno G20 engine made in Bologna, Italy.